Hi there. I've just had a few days when my walking improved dramatically. In fact, my gait was back to normal again. Uh, and it started sort of on Friday. I noticed my walking had improved, and it was a really nice weekend. We've had snow here, not something we get very often in our part of England, and was able to get out in it without worrying too much about falling over, which was an advantage. And went out and spent time with my grandchildren and my wife. Walked quite a lot, and it was really good just to be able to do that. When you lose the ability to do something like walking normally, um, you don't realise until you lose the ability how special these simple things are. So it was a good weekend, but then not all of my symptoms went, as has happened before in the past when these sort of small remissions, if you like, have happened. What really, I'm still getting involuntary movements every now and then, not as much as perhaps I have been over the last few months. As you can see at the moment, I'm not getting any, which in itself is a relief. But I'm still getting the occasional one now and again. And even yesterday, we had our grandson stay overnight, and who's nearly one, and then we had the family round in the afternoon. And by the end of the afternoon, I was noticing it was almost like hitting a brick wall and feeling suddenly that I'd really pushed as far as I possibly can, and started to notice every now and again I'd get up to walk and I was struggling, and I would sort of pull myself together and try to talk myself into walking properly, and seem to be able to get back into it. In fact, it's times like this that make me really wonder about the genuineness of my problems, and it leaves me feeling really quite confused. This morning I woke up again feeling reasonably well. Managed to do some bits and pieces, and then the brick wall came again, and I felt as if I'd been bashed over the head. And by the afternoon I was back to walking much as I was before. Everything seemed to come back on Friday and Saturday. I just don't really understand how this can happen, and I do understand why the neurologists sort of doubt whether the reality of the physical side of my illness, because if damage has been done to my nervous system, how can I have these periods which only last 2, 3, longest I think was maybe, I think I had one near the beginning that lasted 10 days. I'm not even sure it was as long as that. It was a while ago. They happen rarely. And it's as if I can suddenly get the right messages down to my legs to do the right thing. And it's almost like, and then when it all changes round, it's like I can't, and no matter how hard I try to get my feet and my legs to coordinate and work in the right way, they won't. They just will not do it. And I don't understand it at all. Now, I know I've often discussed here as to what I've got, and I still don't know. And this is the most frustrating thing, because I'm not medically qualified. I can't possibly diagnose myself. But being left without any real medical help, you end up having to try to work things out. It's just natural. You need to know what's going on in your body. Now, if this is ME, which it still might possibly be, there are questions I still have. Now, usually it's said that ME, you have some type of signs of ongoing infection, like sore throats, and the immune system's not very good. Now, I know my voice goes very croaky. I haven't actually got a sore throat. I've not had a cold or flu for 4 years, which I used to get regularly before I had this. In fact, it almost seems as if my immune system is working harder, and I'm not catching things that I normally would. The other thing with ME is it talks a lot about fluctuating symptoms, and although some of my symptoms do fluctuate in terms of their intensity, they are generally there every day, apart from these short periods I've been talking about. And my gait, my walking, is nearly always bad. Well, it is always bad apart from these short periods. It's the most noticeable thing about me. When people see me walking, they can see there is something that's wrong. So it still leaves me with doubts about the ME thing, whether it is, whether it isn't. But all I know is that I feel quite confused by all of this, quite sort of unsure of myself, I suppose, and my own knowledge of myself. And I suppose the longer it goes on, waiting almost for it to get worse before anyone takes notice, the harder it gets. And the usual pattern of this is that I have these short periods where I get a bit better, and then I go down and I go down and I go down to worse than what I was before. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen this time, but that has certainly been the pattern in the past. Now, at last video I mentioned something about the diabetes. I'm thinking that I had it back in 2004. When I have looked at other of my blood tests, and I had a blood test in 2006, a fasting one, and it was well down. My blood sugar level was on the low side of normal. So I'm not certain that blaming that was actually correct. Maybe my blood sugar levels have been jumping about a bit, but I don't know whether I had long-term diabetes or not. I did see a podiatrist this week because I have to, in terms of my diabetes, to check my feet, and it actually was quite good because they had to check for nerve damage. And yes, I do have neuropathy. I've been saying this before, but I've got neuropathy, and I got some of my toes, the feeling's gone, and I know that there's also some lacking in feeling in other parts of my toes and other parts of my body. So that was good that that was confirmed, but not sure where it goes. So that's really it. I just wanted to make this video or think out loud. Anyone can explain how you can suddenly be something like walking comes back for just a few days, and then over a period really of 24 hours goes back to how it was. I would be grateful, because really it leaves me feeling totally confused and a little bit despondent, if I'm honest. Anyhow, I'm sure I will make another video soon. Now I've got a new camera, you won't be able to get rid of me very quickly. Anyhow, I'll speak to you all soon. Bye for now.